Psalm 25 and verse 5. I want to go back and talk a little bit about verse 5. Guide me in your truth and teach me, for you are God my Savior, and my hope is in you all day long. Now, I talked a little bit last time about hope. Hope is a concept, it's a theme all the way through the Bible, Old and New Testaments. But have you ever tried to kind of put your thumb right on, so what is hope and how do we get it? I've been wrestling with that, and I've told you about that before, but something that I think is a factor, and a positive factor in my opinion, is where, look at what he, guide me in your truth and teach me. Now, truth and the right path is he's been talking about that. So truth, in my opinion, pretty much, especially in the context of what we're looking at here in Psalm 25, it connects back to truth. Even hope connects back to truth. Guide me in your truth and teach me, for you are God my Savior, and my hope is in you all day long. Now, hope, I believe, is connected to truth. I wish doesn't have to be connected to the truth, right? I wish I could hit my driver 20 yards longer like I did in the old days. That's a wish. It's not founded on truth, okay? The truth is, with rare exceptions, 69-year-old golfers don't hit the ball as far as they did in their 50s, okay? I could wish I didn't carry around 10 extra pounds. But as long as I eat, and as long as my activities are as they are, the truth is I'm going to carry around 10 extra pounds. So truth at least refines our hope. I don't think it's wrong to have a wish. It's not a sin to wish for things. But a wish is less connected to truth than hope is. My hope, in this context, David's hope was connected to the truth. One of the big truths is, you are my God and my Savior. If that's true, then if that is the fundamental truth of all of my life, God, you are my Savior, then hope can come out of that. I'm still not satisfied with my understanding of and my ability to communicate what hope is about. I'm way not satisfied with how I have in my own life engaged hope. David says, my hope is in you all day long. So this is not a hope for a cushy life or a better income, a better job, a better spouse, better kids. David says, you are God, my Savior, and my hope is in you all day long. Here's what it's feeble, but it is something. I have to root my hope in God, my Savior. He says, my hope is in you all day long. I get from that, I have to continue to put my hope. I have to continue to ground my hope in the truth all day. This is not a statement of weakness on my part. It wasn't a statement of weakness on David's part. It was just the reality. Our hope is in you, God, our Savior, all day long. So a challenge is to, at the very least, for me, possibly for you, to remind myself that God is my Savior. He doesn't although David doesn't say it here, to me it's very true that God doesn't resent having to save me. Apparently, he was good with that. Okay. Remind myself of God's, for me, it is reminding myself of his grace. He is my Savior, and he saved me, according to Paul in Ephesians chapter 2. He saved me by his grace. And because of that, I can have hope. Okay. Verse 6, remember, Lord, your great mercy and love, for they are from of old. It's almost like David is saying, okay, God, I know you're God, but I want to remind you of your great mercy and love. Don't forget those. And I think one of the reasons for that is if it feels like to me, or if I begin to think that God has forsaken mercy and love, I become hopeless. And David, I think, is reminding himself of this aspect of God's nature more than he is going, hey, God, snap out of it up there. But don't forget, remember your great mercy and love. I mean, and it's from of old, meaning this is not a new thing. This is an old thing. This is how you are. You better not forget that, God. Come on now. No. I will say that the entire psalm is a prayer. Obviously, this section. And one of the aspects of prayer is that God is interested. He desires for us to talk with him, talk to him, share the things. He already knows these things. We're not filling him in on something because he already knows everything. But he gives us this chance to express to him what we're thinking and what we're feeling. It's I think it's a privilege that a lot of Christians kind of take for granted. In fact, I think this is an aspect of prayer that doesn't get taught very much. I'm going on my experience, but my experience is that prayer is taught as an obligation. Jenny our daughter, has this little piece of artwork in the powder room that says, wash your hands and say your prayers because Jesus and germs are everywhere. And sometimes that's the teaching. Dude, you better pray. You better pray. Yeah, I better pray. But I don't, you take this for whatever meaning you get out of it, but I don't want to pray only out of obligation. I don't want to talk to Debbie, my wife, out of obligation. I mean, there are times that I do. I am obligated to fill her in and share what I'm thinking, what my plans are. Okay. But the biggest reason, and I think that the best reason that I want to talk to her is because I love her. Because people I love, I desire interaction with. I was really provoked in this. I watched and listened to a talk by John Ortberg. I've told you John is one of my favorite preachers and teachers on prayer, the discipline of prayer, and how our conversation with God, telling him what's on our mind, what's passing through, is legitimate prayer. Well, okay. Lord, remember your great mercy and love. It's not like God's got this little eyedropper and he's squeezing out a drop at a time of mercy and love. No, that's not great, right? It's more like the fire hydrant opened wide open. That's his great mercy and love. It's not limited. It's not small. It goes beyond what I would say I need. And David writes, they're from of old, long established. Verse 7, do not remember the sins of my youth and my rebellious ways. According to your love, remember me, for you, Lord, are good. This is important, and the older I get, the more important it becomes. When I reflect on my younger days, one of the things that often pops up in that reflection is stupid choices I made, dumb words I uttered, things I wish I could get back, but I can no more get that back than you could squeeze the toothpaste out of a toothpaste tube and then get it back in. It doesn't work. And yet, I'm with David. Lord, don't remember those dumb things, those sins of my youth and my rebellious ways. Everybody's had rebellious ways. I was not a real rebellious kid. I was generally pretty compliant to my parents. But all of us, I hope, all of us have gone through a stage of rebelliousness, but not to an extreme degree. The point of, and I think the function of youthful rebellion is to establish a sense of independence. And then maturity draws us from independence toward interdependence. But we do dumb things. We do sinful things in our rebellion. And David's prayer is, Lord, don't remember that. Just forget my dumb, sinful, stupid. Forget that. According to your love, remember me. So he's saying, in my youth, in my rebellion, could you forget that and remember me according to your love. The context of your memory for me, let it be your love, for you, Lord, are good. That's an interesting concept, and there's not enough time for me to really pursue it very far, so I'm going to come back to it next time on Soul Care with Stevie Boy.